Are you in business goal setting mode like the rest of the planet is? Well, if not, then you should be, because the end of this year, beginning of next year is the absolute best time for you to take a chance to refresh and reset and figure out exactly what it is that you want to achieve. Not having business goals is like being on a ship without a map. You're going to just be floating around in the ocean without a real true place to go. But most often than not, when I see folks don't have business goals, the real reason is because they don't have a true, simple way to create them, but most importantly, a way to make sure that they achieve them. Well, today, my loves, that is exactly what I'm going to teach you in 5 easy steps. How to create the goals of your dreams, but most importantly, exactly what to do to accomplish them. Let's get to work. We are going to talk about that good old achievable list. Yeah, you heard about that, right?
How? I don't know.
Good old achievable list. You know, the goals list that you put together and really haven't had time to focus on.
Magic.
Yeah, that list. But why haven't you? Why haven't you dedicated the time and effort into actually creating those goals and turning them into actionable steps that you can implement? Well, I'm not sure, because I know that true success in business really truly comes from having goals, setting deadlines, and being really, really strategic with what you're going to do. If you don't do that and you just kind of have these goals in your head that are floating around that you want to accomplish, then you're never really truly going to see success as an entrepreneur. When you're a business owner and you're a CEO, your goals become business plans. And those business plans become deadlines. And those deadlines become what you're going to implement in order to get to that next level. Today, I am actually going to share with you my tips for how to have goal setting success and really the steps that you should do in order to be able to get those goals out of your head, stop them from becoming dreams that you think are just going to fall from the sky, and actually creating them into real true strategies to take your business to the next level. So let's get to work. First things first, you have to really determine what you really want in your business over the next 12 months. And I always say 12 months because anything longer than that becomes overwhelming and it doesn't give you the opportunity to really pivot. If you look at your business goals year by year, you have the opportunity to take a step back, look back at what works, and make tweaks. I used to start out in my business with a 3-year strategy. And then what would happen is we'd have these long projections 3 years from now, but we would still break down the action items into year by year. And then by the time we got to that 3rd year, everything has changed so significantly because the results weren't necessarily what we wanted them to be, or we were having extreme success in an area that we didn't realize we would. So we had to ultimately adjust. After I did that for a couple of years in a row and created these long 3-year strategies, I realized, Cheryl, just take it year by year. And so I evaluate that year-long strategy every 6 months. And then at the end of that year, getting close to the end of that year, about 10 months in, I actually create a new 1-year strategy for the following calendar year. So the big key to actually determining what you want is really keeping it simple. You know the KISS method. You've heard of that before. Keep it simple, stupid. And when you're thinking about what you really want in your business for the next 12 months, I tell people to really focus it around 4 major things. Your revenue goals, exactly how much money you want to bring into your business. Your growth goals. So what percentage of growth do you want to see? And it's really helpful if you look at kind of your industry and what competitors might be doing from a growth perspective to see what's a standard growth rate. I know for me, my goals used to say, I want to grow by 100% every year. And I didn't really realize that that was a really big number until I actually did a little bit of research and realized that consulting firms in my area, their average growth was less than 15%. So you were having a really good year in consulting businesses if you grew by between 9 and 11%. And I was like, we grew 60 some percent last year. So even though my goal was 100%, I didn't realize how good 60% was. So I definitely say when you're picking a growth percentage, like grow by 20% or 30%. Now, when you're brand new, growing by 100% is not astronomical because you might have driven $30,000 in revenue and in the following year, you want to drive 60, and that's not huge. But when you start getting to the multiple six-figure, $500,000, $1 million mark, to see 60, 70, 100% increases could be pretty rare unless you are doing something absolutely rock star to get there. So when you think about your growth goals from a percentage perspective, just make sure that they're realistic and keep them pretty simple. I also say think about your impact goals. So I pick revenue goals, I pick growth goals, and then I think impact goals. An impact goal is really the number of customers or people that I want to impact the following year. And not necessarily just in my audience. Like, I don't want to know, I'm not talking about how many people I can grow to deliver free value to. I'm talking about people that actually become customers and take advantage of my services and of my products. And that's an impact goal. So I know, for instance, in 2020, I wanted to make sure that we could impact at minimum 3,000 people. That means really get them involved in our programs and services and really help them start or grow their businesses. And that would have been life-changing for them, but also really impactful for me. So impact goals is the number of lives that you want to impact and touch. So have an idea of how many people you really want to touch. And that's a great goal to add to what you see in your business in the next 12 months. And then the last thing is your life impact goal. So what do you want your business growth to impact in your personal life? Maybe it's, I definitely want to make sure that my business is growing. And one of my goals for my business is to achieve a revenue level that I will be able to take a 3-week vacation on the beach with my family. And you know that is like an extra 10 grand. So you want to make sure that your business is giving you and bringing you personally an extra $10,000 in order to achieve that life goal. Or I know for me, I have pretty lofty dreams about my backyard. I know I've talked to you guys before about my love of plants and gardening, but I have this vision and this design of my backyard, my future backyard, that's probably gonna be, a lot of money because it includes a pool and pergolas and a she shed and all kinds of stuff, y'all. So that's a life impact goal for me that I can actually include in my business and say 2021, not only am I going to achieve these revenue goals, these growth goals, and all these other things, but I'm going to do a life impact goal and make sure that I can get my yard done exactly how I want it done. So determining what you really want is the first step. And I recommend that you think about it from those 4 perspectives and make sure that you write them down and say, these are the things I want to accomplish from my business. Now let's move on to step number 2 so you can figure out how to do that. So step number 2 is to do a SWOT analysis to assess where you currently are. A SWOT analysis is you analyze your strengths, your weaknesses, your opportunities, and your threats that exist in your business that will ultimately help or impede you from achieving those overall goals that you just said you wanted to achieve in your business in the next 12 years. And the reason why I always recommend, which is my favorite part, is a SWOT analysis, is because in order to get where you want to go, you have to already know and have a really good grasp on where you've been. And you can't get to that next level if you haven't figured out what your strengths are, what you're really, really good at so that you can capitalize off of them, what your weaknesses are that are preventing you from actually getting to that next level so that you can fix them and tweak them, where the opportunities in your market currently exist because of what's shifted and changed, how you could take advantage of those opportunities, and then what the threats are that are kind of looming out there to prevent you from potentially reaching those goals, and how you can mitigate them and prepare for them so that they don't necessarily affect you as significantly. So that second step is to really sit down and say, all right, these are my strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities and threats as it relates to me achieving these goals that I just set for my business. So based upon these strengths and weaknesses, opportunities and threats, what do I need to do? What do I need to take action in order to make sure that I can get there? Now, I see you out there fervently writing strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats, looking up at the camera saying, CP, what'd you say? Can you repeat that? Don't worry. Of course, I have a freebie for you. And that freebie is available for you right underneath this video in the description, also in the comments. It is my SWOT analysis cheat sheet cheat sheet. I almost say cheat shit, y'all. I almost said cheat shit. Anyway, cheat sheet. Make sure that you grab it and use it to do your SWOT analysis. It is where I start every single year when I am picking my growth strategies for the following year. And I can tell you, it is what single-handedly has enabled me to grow multiple 6-figure and 7-figure businesses. So go ahead and make sure you grab that. And while you're down there, you might as well subscribe and like and leave me a comment and tell me how you feeling and tell me what's up and tell me what some of your goals are. I love hearing new entrepreneur and existing entrepreneur goals. So let me know down in the comments, okay? Let's move on to step 3. So step 3 is a kind of a spin-off on that SWOT. You have to create 3 or 4 goals that improve upon the weaknesses, capitalize off the strengths, and take advantages of those opportunities and prepares you for the threats. Example, you've got to create the 3 or 4 goals that you're going to need to do in order to do the improvement, in order to capitalize off the strengths, in order to take advantage, and also in order to mitigate. So let me give you an example. A lot of entrepreneurs that I talk to, that I work with, that are students in my startup academy, or that are even coachees, one of the biggest weaknesses that they know they have as we start working together is they've got really small lists, and their leads lists or their email lists or their newsletter lists are either small or non-existent. They've never really dedicated any time or effort into growing that list. So when we're working together, I begin to stress the importance of that list, because I'm telling you, your list is your fans, and they listen to you if you're engaging with them, if you're doing a really good job. Whenever you are going to sell something, they are going to buy it from you. It's like the beehive. I've heard me talk about bee before, and my love of the queen. And quite frankly, if you're over there with your own little opinion and your own little head making up stories and hating on bee, keep it to yourself, because I can tell you what, I never trust somebody who don't love Beyonce. Okay? But besides that fact, the beehive, for instance, because Beyonce has done an amazing job at nurturing and developing a raving fan base because of who she is and her brand, y'all know the beehive is absolutely crazy. Beyonce can sell a concert ticket for $10,000, and somebody who is in the beehive will take out a personal loan to actually get that ticket. So when you've got raving fans, costs, pricing, all of that things goes out the window. So you need to create an amazing list. And that's a huge weakness for a lot of my coachees and students. So what I would say to them is, all right, we know that that's a weakness, and we know that that's really preventing you from getting to those 4 or 5 goals that you ultimately know you want to achieve in your business. So now we've got to create some real true initiatives and some strategies that are going to help you eliminate that small list. So come up with 3 or 4 things that I know you want to do, like create a strong social media profile, create a consistent content strategy to drive people to your list, create 10 or 15 opt-ins or freebies that people can actually use and that they're going to get results from, that are going to drive them into your list. And maybe it's begin to dive into some Facebook ads. I just gave y'all 4 off the top of my head, right? So those are the 4 goals, and that's really step 3. Create 3 to 4 things that you know you need to do in order to get rid of that weakness so that you can get to that end result. But you've got to make them SMART goals. And I know that you've heard this before. SMART: specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. They have to have a deadline date. They have to be something that you actually can achieve. Don't say, I'm going to add 1 million people to my list and you've got 2. That's not realistic, right? Achievable. They got to be doable. You got to be able to get them done. You want to make sure that they're measurable so that you can say, I want to add 1,000 people to my list. You can measure 1,000 people versus I just want to add more people to my list. You can't measure more people, because if you only got 2 more is technically more, but you ain't doing nothing with just 2 more. And it has to be very specific. I need to add 1,000 people by December 31st to my list. So you want to make sure that you create them in a SMART way as well. So now you've thought about what you want. You've done the SWOT analysis to figure out how far you off from getting it, and you've created 3 or 4 goals that you know you want to get done in order to get there. Let's talk about step number 4. list 4 action items under each goal that you must get done in order to achieve the goal. And I always pick 4 because it makes it easy and it makes it small chunks. So 4 action items, and make each of those action items something that you're going to focus on each quarter of the year, right? There's 4 quarters, there's 4 action items, and there's 4 things that you know you're going to focus on getting done in order to achieve that goal. So let's go back to I have a small list as a weakness example. And those 4 things I said to you that I was going to do in order to get my list going. So now let's say that I want to create 15 opt-ins. That was one of my goals. Well, in order to create 15 opt-ins, every quarter, I need to create a specific action item in order to get me to those 15 opt-ins. So quarter 1, I'm going to research my pain points from my ideal customer avatar to determine what their real true needs are in order to come up with an opt-in strategy list. That's what you're going to do in the first quarter. So you got 3 months to do all your research, get the pain points, talk to your ICA, and begin to log them. Step 2, the second thing that you're going to do second quarter now is to go out and research design software in order to create some really appealing, really sexy opt-ins that are going to be attractive to others. So second quarter is you actually make your opt-ins, right? Third quarter, now I'm going to actually research and learn Facebook ads to create a Facebook ad to drive some paid traffic into my opt-in. And then the fourth quarter is I'm going to create a video challenge through Facebook Lives in order to drive more people. So whatever it is, as you can see, now I've got 4 specific action items that are due by the end of every quarter that's actually going to help me get to that goal. And step number 5, implement an accountability game plan and stick to it. One of the biggest problems with actually getting your goals done is not sticking to them and not asking for help for someone to hold you accountable. So my biggest piece of advice is find or hire a partner, an accountability partner. Maybe it's a mentor, maybe it's a fellow entrepreneur that you have in one of your masterminds or in a Facebook group that you can say, hey, can we be accountability partners? I'm going to send you what my goals are and my deadlines. You can send me yours, and we will agree to meet or have a phone call every single month and see how we're doing on our goals. That accountability piece is a huge deal. It's what oftentimes makes the difference between somebody sticking to an exercise routine and not sticking to an exercise routine. There's actually statistics out there that tell you 80% of people who use a personal trainer stick to exercise and create exercise habits over people who don't use a personal trainer. Why? Not because the personal trainer is teaching you something special that you can't find on YouTube in a video, but because the personal trainer is holding you accountable and you feel more obligated to meet the needs of someone else oftentimes than you do yourself. It's easier for us to tell ourselves, it's no big deal, I'll keep it moving. So make sure you have an accountability game plan and create a completion review schedule. So with all of my goals, for instance, every single month, I have a meeting with my management team and we look at where we are. So we talk about all the goals that were due over the previous month, what actually got done. If they didn't get done, why, what's missing, what do we need to tweak? And then we review what's coming up in the following month that we've got to work on. So we've got kind of a game plan and an action item. And every single month, I know that first Friday of every month, we're meeting. So I'm accountable for my action items and my team knows that they're accountable for yours. You need to implement that type of a review plan as well with your accountability partner. And it's going to definitely make a huge difference in your ability to actually get the action items done on time. And it allows you to tweak and keep going. Remember when I said, you talk about these are the goals that I got done. If you didn't get it done, why? What do we need to fix in order to move forward? Well, there are some things that can kind of get in your way from you achieving something. Maybe it's you realized as you were doing it that you needed a different software program, or maybe a certain business that you were working with that was supplying you with an ingredient or something for your product to be built is no longer in business. So you have to find a new one. So those things will happen. But when you sit down every month and you review them, if you didn't get them done, you'll talk about why, and then you'll come up with the strategy that you need to actually move it to the following month and get it done then. It gives you time to tweak and to monitor and to adjust as you go along. So here is a little CP impact tip. I know y'all love these, and here it is. I need you to do this goal setting annually, and I recommend that you do it at a presidential retreat. Doesn't that sound sexy? I know. Well, I'm not going to get into what a presidential retreat is because I did a whole video on it. And the fact of the matter is, both myself CP, and Bill Gates do them. So if Bill Gates does it, I'm gonna do it too. And I recommend that you do. It's very, very difficult to go through this goal planning process if you don't have space and time to think and really focus. And the presidential retreat, which I'll link to up here in that video that I just mentioned, is where you're gonna do it. So make sure you check that out to figure out what is this presidential retreat, CP. But I definitely recommend when you are doing this that you take one of those and that you do this there. So I want to leave you with something from one of the greatest football coaches of all time and one of my favorites, Coach Lou Holtz. And he said, if you're bored with life, if you don't get up every morning with a burning desire to do things, you don't have enough goals. And ain't that the truth? Don't just wander around aimlessly, not knowing what to do or how to get it done. Implement these 5 things. Take them into account and really go for it. And I'm telling you, that growth, those goals will hit you in the butt without you even realizing it. And you will be looking up and all of a sudden, everything that you wanted to do in the beginning of the year that you set in your business the next 12 years, including that life impact goal, it's going to be showing up in your backyard in the form of a she shed, a pool, and a beautiful pergola with some stairs that are sweeping down and come out the door with some new French doors. And yeah, that's my backyard. But until next time, my love, think about what life impact goal you are. I'd love to hear it in the comments. I love you. I'll talk to you soon. Mwah!